What is up, my doggies? Welcome back to another episode of We Watch JoJo.
It's our, sixth episode?
I don't know. We watched episodes 20 through 24.
21 through 24.
21 through 24. Wow, what a set of episodes. I'm doing a bit, but, it actually was a really big, important
Yeah,
four episodes.
A lot of developments. A lot happened. As usual, our third host, Flicker, is here with us.
She always joins us for the podcast, never anything else. She's always, doing something else when I'm hanging out over here. But the second this mic comes out, she's like, oh, it's time for me to contribute. Flicker, you didn't even watch it. She's gonna help out anyway. You know what, let's just get right into it. Let's get into episode 21.
I need you to remind me what happens right at the beginning, because all I have here is, well, that's just lovely.
Well, it starts off with the Mario radio again, which
right.
is a welcome introduction.
Always appreciated.
And we see Kira. And
with a hand,
with a hand. You're not gonna trick me again. This is the 30th time, the 300th time. We know that that's a severed hand. Animators.
Yep.
You're not gonna fool me.
Oh, and I have a note here. We've been having this second OP for a while now, and I realized I think I might actually enjoy it if it weren't for JoJo Part 4. If it were for something else, I could see myself enjoying that a bit more.
Yeah.
It just feels like not a good fit for the show we're watching.
Normally I'd probably put it the song I'd say is medium, mediocre, it's not great. But the animation style, everything that happens, I'd say is good, is quality. However, I don't like with JoJo because of the lack of color, amongst other things. Anyway,
the colors of JoJo is really a defining trait.
Yes, yeah. So we're learning more about Kira, and the more we learn, the more boring he seems.
And the less believable it is that no one has caught him in all this time, because he has no caution in what he's doing in these episodes.
Yeah. Well, this introduction is pretty much showing him to be just a hard worker that doesn't stand out literally at all. He's the most boring man in the universe.
But as soon as
he has a lot of money.
Out, yes, he does. He is well off. But I cannot believe that he's not caught in the scene at the sandwich shop.
Yeah, I was gonna say, this is way too much.
Yeah, no, that is not believable
He takes the hand right out and starts rubbing it all over the sandwich, and he's pressing down with such force that the sandwich breaks right open. And I'm like, Kira, that's too hard. What are you doing?
He was talking to it.
Yeah,
out
he
loud.
was talking out loud. And then I'm like, Kira, at least buy it. I'm so angry. They don't even buy the sandwich.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I guess gotta buy another one. This one's damaged. You put a dead hand in it. You left it for someone else.
Oh, jeez. I guess that's not the worst thing he's done, considering he made that hand severed. But it's still kind of gross. And I wrote down specifically, JoJo knows how to make things look super gross.
Yes, it does.
I don't know. The next note I have is, a puppy.
Yes, and I was so grateful that this dog did not die.
Yeah,
Nothing
finally.
bad happened to it.
Puppy who ruins the serial killer's life by accident.
All these dogs that were just innocent bystanders who were terribly murdered and harmed. This dog legit messed with the main villain and got away with it.
Got away somehow. Meanwhile,
Kira has the worst day of his life.
Yeah, well, I was just gonna say, this puppy, messed with this whole sandwich thing and, accidentally caused the death of this small child. But the dog survived. That's jumping ahead a little bit, but,
Man, what a chain of events that this episode was.
It really was, because it does start with the fact that Kira needs to get the sandwich, decides to like eat it
a sandwich,
as a romantic date.
dog, and the murdering of a child.
Yeah. So yeah, Shigechi's back.
Yep, and you know, I would have preferred Chi-Chi, but I'm okay with this, honestly.
So yeah, there's the dog. It's there, and it's like, I'm gonna steal your sandwich, but I guess not. And then Shigechi's there, and then so Josuke and Okuyasu are there, and they bully him.
Yes, and I did note, like, obviously, given the context we have as to what their relationship is, it makes more sense how they act with him. But, like, take that away, and it's literally just two guys bullying a kid.
Yeah. They're like 7 times his height.
Flicker is just reaching as far as she can to try to scratch my foot right now.
Flicker just wants to make this podcast a little more dangerous for you.
Are you done, Kat?
She's not done. She's gonna get you when you least expect it.
Okay. Well, let's move on.
So anyway, yeah, they pester him for money.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, geez, guys, I don't know. And then the puppy takes his sandwich.
This is literally like right next to where Kira is.
Yeah.
As they've stated, you know, stand users attract other stand users, and this is just another example of
Kira's
that.
just on a random romantic date of sorts.
With a severed hand, as he does.
And so the puppy steals Shigechi's bag. And Shigechi's like, uh-oh, where's my sandwich?
And he sees Kira's sandwich, and he's like, oh, that's my sandwich.
Yeah, but
Only thing is...
it's not a sandwich at all.
There's a severed hand in that bag.
There's a hand in the bag. So he takes the bag, and immediately Kira's like, uh-oh.
And so now the rest of the episode is Kira just... following these school children trying to take back the bag with the severed hand in it that they're unknowingly carrying around before they open it.
It's a little goofy because they're like, I'm going to open the bag. Oh, I forgot.
Yeah.
Gotta do something else first.
Oh, but I love that.
It's very so suspenseful.
The whole episode.
Yeah, I wrote that down somewhere in here, but we'll get to that. So Kira's got to get it back. Kira bumps right into Shigechi. Shigechi's like, oh, I wasn't watching where I was going. My bad. And then they sneak into the gym room. Because that's where Shigechi gets his free coffee from the teacher's lounge.
Mm-hmm. As one would expect, he is indeed stealing from the school.
Yeah. Which is kind of cool. I would do it if I could.
I wouldn't do it for coffee, but I don't know. I guess tea is nice. They have that too.
So Kira follows him into this little gym room, and I don't know. That's where the tense scene is. They
yeah. So they all you know, first it's just Shigechi in there with Kira. But then, just when Kira's about to get the bag and leave, Josuke and Okuyasu show up. So he has to hide inside like some of the gym equipment. And then Josuke ends up sitting on top of it, trapping him in there while he's eating. And the bag's still out there, and he just has to... like, try all these complicated ways of trying to get the bag back. He at one point knocks over the bag, and it looks like he's outed then, but it just happens to have fallen over so that even though the hand is exposed, it's not at an angle where Josuke can see it from where he is.
Yeah.
And just when Josuke is going over to investigate the bag, where if he took like 2 steps, he'd see a severed hand. Of course, Shigechi walks in and he's like, you stay away from my sandwich, Josuke. Don't you even look at it.
Don't even go near that sandwich. I swear to God. And this is where I wrote, honestly, the scene is so tense. Like, it really is. They did such a good job with that.
That is like, they They're so close.
Even though this is my
whole
second
scene.
viewing, it's still like somehow very tense. And
because instead of like a bomb or like all those sort of traditional ideas of what, that sort of thing that they have to discover, it's
so creepy and weird.
Yeah, a severed hand in a sandwich bag.
Yeah.
That's just adds to the situation.
Well,
I feel
Kira gets the sandwich.
Yeah,
wow, the sandwich is gone. Of course, we keep referring to it as a sandwich. It's just the bag.
Yeah, it's a sandwich bag with a severed hand in it.
Yeah, they think it's a sandwich. It's not a sandwich.
He gets it and gets out.
Yeah.
And he's like, finally, after all that struggle, I'm good to go. But
well, hold on. They're looking for it now. Because they're like, where's the sandwich? Josuke, you've stolen my sandwich. He's like, I don't even know. It just disappeared. Where's your sandwich?
Yeah, they're like, look, we know it's weird that it's gone, but we swear we didn't take it. We have no idea what's going on right now.
So she uses Harvest and tries to find it, and is about to get it. And then the gym teacher, or one of the teachers, the teacher walks in and they're like, is somebody, I know you're in there, guys.
Yeah, and they have to scatter.
They gotta split immediately. And the teacher's like, these kids, they're stealing my coffee. I knew that this was happening.
So, Kira just narrowly escapes being caught. And he finally gets out.
I wrote, congrats, Kira.
You done it.
He talks about being protected by luck.
Yep. And then he steps out of the school triumphant for about, I'd say maybe 10 seconds before she finds him there with the bag, and it's like, it was you!
Yeah. Shigechi doesn't know this, but he just killed himself.
Yeah. Never a good idea to confront a serial killer.
Yeah. But,
not that he knew it, it was
he
a
thought he was just
killer.
a sandwich thief.
Yeah.
Which, honestly, that is a lot of effort to go through for just a sandwich.
But it's believable that he would do that.
I guess so. So then Kira just talks about himself some more and how boring he is. And then we see the reveal of Kira's stand. Killer Queen!
Yes, and it is quite the powerful stand indeed.
This is so one of my favorite stands.
She's at it again.
Flicker's excited. She's like, it's a cat stand, kind of.
It has explosions.
It's a cat person.
It does the explodey.
Yeah, we don't learn that yet, but
yes.
Isn't its design so cool?
I do enjoy its
design.
design.
It's like a cat wrestler person.
I did notice it was a pretty unique design amongst the humanoid stands.
Yeah. Killer Queen.
And
that's such a cool reveal too.
Yeah.
Just at the end of that episode.
And he gave that whole speech about like his whole life and routine, and then he's like, just how much I want to keep my life orderly and stay from being noticed or standing out, but if anyone gets in the way of that, they're gone.
And we had so much build up too, that like we've been seeing this guy for so long. And we were learning about him, but he's so boring. And we're like, is this really the guy? And then we see his stand,
Of course, the reveal of the guy was definitely interesting, but definitely the reveal of the stand is the big payoff.
And the more we learn about the stand, the cooler it gets. So the more we learn about Kira, we're like, what a boring dude. But the more we learn about the stand, we're like, what is, OP stand? Like, what an amazingly rad stand.
Yeah, he this is skimming out ahead, but he's gonna wreck some house with that stand.
Oh boy, is he ever. So we get to the next episode.
Yep. And Well, right out the gate, I do say, I hope he actually dies, and less so because I dislike the character, which I do somewhat, but not to an extreme that I would want him dead. But more so because I just wanted the gravity of the situation and the real weight of what they're confronting to be brought to the show and the characters.
Yeah.
And I felt like the only way they could establish that out the gate is if he died, and that I think they handled it well.
Mm-hmm. So we see Killer Queen again. That's how it starts off, and we learn that the stand's power is that it can make anything into a bomb.
Yep, it displays this by taking a coin and flicking it over to him. He's like, anything it touches can be turned into a bomb. Like, for instance, a coin. And then it just blows up in his face.
I wrote, oh, rest in peace, Shigechi. And immediately after I wrote, oh, JK.
Yeah,
But then I wrote, gross.
Yeah, his face is pretty messed up. But the Kira describes
how
him,
he explains it is the most disgusting thing that only JoJo could really...
And I felt
juxtaposed to this like shonen fight style.
Yeah, but here's what interested me is that JoJo has never strayed from being able to visually depict something as grotesque as that description.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't really match it. Like, he was somewhat twisted, but not nearly as messed up as Kira described him.
He just describes it, because he describes it like as a internal thing. So, like, I guess, like, there might be reasons why they wanted to keep it, you know, looking kind of,
He was in the episode for a significantly longer time, so I guess it would make sense not to make it too messed up.
Yeah, and they might be saving something for, who knows. But, he talks about, he says that, like, part of his brain got, like, blown into and fused with, like, the front of his face. And some other stuff, like he got like, some like really bad for like a middle school kid.
Yeah.
And the whole time there's this huge like pathos with this kid. I think that's the right one, where they're talking about how he just wants like his mom and dad to like live in a peaceful, you know, city that isn't plagued by this weird murder guy. He doesn't even like. He's like he seems so selfish in the other episode, but when it got down to it, he was like, I know that I'm probably gonna, you know, die from this, but I need to protect my parents. So then that's like really, you know, we get a little more, you know, last minute character stuff.
Yeah, and a bit more sympathetic with him as he's dying. Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad they brought that forth. Mm-hmm. I don't think it was tacked on because they touched upon that a little bit when they was introduced. And then, let's see. So, oh yeah, he talks about how Shigechi brings up that he knows about Rami, which they didn't like establish, you know, beforehand. But now they're like, they sort of like in this way, we find out that they have talked about it, but I guess they didn't pay too much attention. They were actively trying to find him too much, but...
not the best move to tell Kira that there are a group of people aware of his actions.
Yeah.
But to be fair...
I guess it distracted him a little.
It did distract him, but I was going to say, to be fair, apparently part of his brain has been destroyed.
Yeah, that's
and he wasn't the smartest guy to begin with.
Yeah,
so,
it would have been in character anyway.
Yeah, it's understandable.
So, Shigechi hides, and manages to get away from Kira.
Yeah, and he gets into the school looking for Josuke to heal him.
Yeah. But he's like, he is dying.
Yeah, he is legitimately dying.
He should have been dead.
He should have already been dead, but he is like slow walking, nearly crawling through the halls of the school, dying, just literally dying. Also, some people, he walks past them, and they're just like, should we interview you? No, don't.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
I know he's grotesque.
A normal person would have been like, okay, we need to...
No one would ignore someone who is quite clearly dying like that when they're right in front of you. It's, especially in the scenario of, like, a fellow student in a school.
Like, what I was thinking was, like, the fact that they, one, didn't know him, two, like he was younger, so they thought, you know, maybe that he was doing, like, some sort of weird joke or something. Three, the whole, like, what's it called? You know, when it's, like, the mob mentality of, like, nobody's doing anything, they're like, somebody else will handle it, I'm not involved. But they didn't really, like, show that so much. That would make sense, but they didn't really show it to be that way.
They didn't really come off like that.
Yeah. They just sort of came off as like, ew, that's weird. Let's let's ignore this one.
Yeah. So that was unfortunate.
Yeah, they could have played that off realistically, but who knows? Whatever, it's fine. Not that big a deal. And then Shigechi's crawling around, and Shigechi finds Josuke, but Kira found Shigechi.
Yeah, he sees through the window of the door window that he's found the room where Josuke and Okuyasu are. But he sees in the reflection on that window that behind him
That's such a cool visual.
Kira. That was a really cool visual.
I'm glad they did that. That's a good way to do something like that.
It's like in front of you,
because it's so life and death.
You. Yeah.
Like, there's somebody who could save me immediately,
and right behind me is my killer.
He got here just in time. I just lost it.
Mm-hmm.
I just lost life.
Although I do say that I get that there's nothing left as evidence after the explosion.
Yeah.
But how does no one see or hear the explosion?
I know. People seem to be ignoring all of his explosions throughout these episodes.
Yeah.
So yeah, he dies for real this time. Rest in peace, Shigechi.
Yeah.
Gets blown up because there's a little bit of a bomb on the handle. Touches it, explodes. Oh no.
Yeah.
But he did something last second.
Yes. He had Harvest pick up a button, or take a button from Kira's shirt and take it to Josuke as like a last hint.
Last second clue.
Yes.
And it's starting to really feel like Scooby-Doo.
That was his, I would say, his most redeeming and greatest action.
Yeah, I wrote a bunch about that. Like, I wrote, Harvest brought the button, what a hero. Koichi's replacement did it. He really pulled through.
He did good. He saw in his last moment that he didn't make it in time to be saved. So he chose to use his last moments to help the remaining stop the killer from getting away.
There's a thing similar. I feel like there's a thing later on with Koichi where I felt like he could have done something similar and he didn't, and I just want to bring that up now. I'll get back to that later.
Okay.
But
speaking of him, I have here, I don't remember exactly when this happens, a little bit after, I guess, but it's rude to point Chi-Chi. I don't remember exactly what he was pointing at. I think at someone, but I don't know who.
Well, I don't know either. But after the button thing, they finally have a meeting. All the stand users.
And that was cool to see all the stand users we know all gathered together.
Yes, and I wrote, murder mystery begin. Here's the detective part.
I remembered now. Okuyasu is upset and he's walking away, and Koichi's talking to Josuke and he's like, look at Okuyasu, he seems upset, and he's just pointing straight at him like...
Yeah, that's funny.
That's both unnecessary and rude.
Yeah, he can probably hear you.
He not only can hear you, but Josuke knows you're talking about Okuyasu. You don't need to point. He's right there.
And it's like a sad moment too.
Yeah.
Yeah. so they finally have that meeting, and they're all gathering all their information. They're like, okay, now it's go time. We kind of dilly-dallied a little bit. Somebody died, so we're gonna stop dilly-dallying. We're gonna figure things out.
We're gonna catch a killer.
Yeah. And, you bet they're going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
And speaking of the killer, he got a new hand.
Wow! Congratulations. Kira kills again. Yeah, that's immediately, like, right after the meeting. Kira walks by and sees, like, a lady. And he's like, wow, she's got some nice hands. And then we get Mario Radio again.
I forget. There's something with a bit of a cliffhanger, wasn't there?
We're still like a little bit away from the end of the episode.
Oh, okay.
Because this is where Koichi runs into Jotaro, and
right. Yes.
It's really funny because throughout Koichi keeps like, I don't know, he thinks like Jotaro doesn't know anything for some reason.
Yeah, I was so frustrated with Koichi during this whole part. He keeps thinking, oh, Jotaro is like not putting any thought into this, and he's not respecting me and not realizing how much I've grown.
Yeah, that's a little bit later, but yeah, he does that like in pieces here. Because like right here, he's like, oh, Jotaro isn't saying anything. I should probably start a conversation. Like, no, Koichi, you shouldn't. He's trying to be a sleuth.
Yeah,
he knows what he's doing. So Jotaro is like the shoe repair place. I haven't checked here. Perhaps, since they do other repairs, they also know of this button. And sure enough, he does. Yep. So they walk in, and the shoe guy immediately offers animal crackers to Chi-Chi, and he refuses. And I'm like, what kind of coward refuses animal crackers? Like, take the animal crackers.
Yeah,
you
why
said
would you not take the
you could
animal
have
cracker?
anyone except for the camels. And, like, that's fine. I don't need the camels. There's plenty of other ones. There's, like, hippos sometimes.
Take the giraffe.
Take whatever you want. Just not the camels, because he likes those for some reason. Just take a cracker. Take a cracker. That's the podcast motto now. Yeah. This is an Okoyasu appreciation blog. We're saying right here, right now, just take the cracker.
Yeah, if someone offers you an animal cracker, you take it.
Yeah, okay. Show them some respect. Anyway, immediately after, the shoe guy pretty much, his hand explodes.
Yep. It's gone.
Well, there's a little bit in between there. He goes to get the name. He does a funny little bit here too, because they're like, you know, the guy that came in here. First of all, Koichi, that's not, you don't act that excited that he knows the guy.
Yeah, he's acting real suspicious. Yeah.
You have to be coy about it. Anyway, so he's like, yeah, I know the guy. Of course I know the guy. I know all my customers. I know all their names. But just for kicks, just for some giggles, let me just check the name in the coat.
Yeah.
And then his hand gets exploded.
Because Kira is actually there.
He's there.
And he has made the jacket explode. And he has a little rolly car bomb thing.
Yeah.
Which I enjoy. I enjoy that thing.
Yeah.
I forget what he calls it, but
I have it here somewhere. What was it? Sheer heart attack. Heart attack.
Quite the name.
It is a very deadly part of the stand. It's not even. It's just part of his stand. It's just part of it.
Yeah, it's a thing that comes off the hand of his stand. And it can be controlled, and it can be used from any distance. Unlike most of the other stands we've seen, it does not have a limit.
So I wrote, Kira's stand is so violent for real. Like, there's some violent stands, but like this one kind of takes the cake, huh?
Which makes sense for a serial killer.
Yeah.
And it is very convenient for a serial killer.
So here's what happens. Kira is like baiting them to get closer by trying to take his jacket, but like in a very obvious way.
Mm-hmm.
And Koichi's like, "Oh, we better stop him." And and Jotaro's like, "No, that's a trap."
Yeah, don't get baited, Chi-Chi.
And then he saves him a little bit by covering them from the blast, and that's how the episode ends.
Now, this whole conflict that happens here at this shop.
Yeah.
I think more than any other time in this show thus far, reconfirms how much we just hate Koichi.
Like, it's so necessary to have a character like this, but it isn't going to stop us from not liking him.
He messes this up so much, and obviously he solves the situation in the end, not through solving any of his own problems or fixing himself or admitting his mistakes, but through just a Deus Ex Machina advancement of his stand.
Yeah. I'd rate Koichi as probably like the dumbest character.
Who just gets lucky with an insanely powerful stand that keeps evolving.
So this episode starts off, I wrote Jotaro is a detective now because he immediately figures out the heat detection.
You know, I didn't, I've said this before, you know, I didn't watch most of part 3, but I do vaguely remember him being fairly clever then too. So that seems like a pretty standard thing for his character.
Yeah.
And it's shown in full force here. He's really sleuthing this thing out. He's not falling for any of the tricks.
Mm-hmm. He's got it under control.
The only times he gets in trouble or gets screwed up is when Koichi gets in his way and doesn't do what he's told.
And he never calls out Koichi for this either.
Yeah, that's some crazy patience
He kind of just like appreciates that he helps at all ever, and like just ignores the facts that he anti-helps sometimes. So Koichi thinks he's smarter than Jotaro. He's like, I think I got this. I'm pretty sure you told me not to do this, but I think I'm going to anyway, because I've assessed the situation and I've decided.
And of course he's wrong.
And, like, Jotaro even explains his thinking to Koichi. Like,
Yeah,
he doesn't just say, like, don't do it. He explains exactly, like, I've dealt with stands like this before. There's a trick to it. Believe me, you can't, like, it will not be good if you take your stand away from yourself.
And Koichi's just thinking in such an immature way, you know. I've grown so much, you don't even realize how much I've grown. You don't even understand what I'm capable of. I'm gonna do my own thing.
But I guess it's good storytelling, even though it's frustrating.
Yeah, I will admit, you know, the scene wouldn't be nearly as interesting if Koichi just sort of stood there and did whatever he was told.
Well, Jotaro uses the world, which is really cool to see when he does that.
Yes, it
and
is.
He punches the heck out of Sheer Heart Attack.
This is where I have about half a page of Aura.
That's always fun.
Yep.
He punches the heck out of it, but it's not dead.
It is durable as heck.
It's like the most durable stand ever.
It will not be broken.
And here I wrote soundtrack because we get some of Kira's soundtrack going. He's got, you know, like he's got a few like songs for his stand and for himself and whatnot. And I really like this one. I thought I noticed in the moment because it was so good. Like in this moment, I was like, "Oh, the sound is so perfect for what's going on," and I enjoyed that. And then I wrote Chi-Chi, no. Rest in peace, Jotaro.
I forget exactly how he causes it. I forget what the exact thing he did there.
So Koichi's stand was too far away because he was trying to find Kira.
Right.
And then the bomb thing locks onto him and goes after him.
He has no way to get away, so
Jotaro
makes a fire.
A fire, right? And so it comes after him, and then
I did kind of enjoy the fact that Jotaro realizes the issue in using a fire to bait it away after he makes the fire.
Yeah.
I
he didn't have a
that,
lot of time. Like, he was too far away from Koichi to, like, move it to do anything else, really.
You know, it would have been perfectly in character for him to have done that while having realized what would happen before he even made the fire. But I enjoy the fact that he didn't realize until after.
Every now and then he has little moments where you're like, he doesn't know everything.
Yeah, he's not a perfect being, you know. He
I write this down later, but like he's very clever, but like several times throughout we see that actually Josuke is even a little more clever than he is. Like, Josuke, for some reason, even though he's a teenager, seems to, like, really understand everything very well.
And I would assume, at least going back to the first storyline...
You know what? It makes sense. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but it makes sense because he has to be so clever because he has no way to help himself. You know, like, his stand is so powerful at helping other people, but like,
does make sense, yeah.
He can't really defend himself that well. Whereas, like, you know, Jotaro, his stand is so powerful that he could protect himself pretty easy with it.
Now, what I was going to say was, and I think I mentioned this in, like, the first episode of our podcast, was that, you know, Jotaro first discovered his stand right at the start of part 3 and really didn't understand what was going on, and his whole training with it came about throughout the events of part 3. Josuke, on the other hand, seemed to have complete understanding and control of his stand already before part 4 even began. And it's, I don't think they ever outright say it, but it seems to be the case that he first developed it around when he was sick, I think.
Yeah. So he would have had it for a really long time, although he wouldn't have, like, a ton of chances to use it.
Yeah.
However, he had plenty of time to think about how he might...
And that's what I was going to say. He understands his stand, and he's had time to realize its strengths and its weaknesses and how best to utilize it.
Well, he's not even here in this scene yet, but
but it's great to talk about.
Yeah,
he's
a good he's such a good JoJo.
He is one of the best characters in this part and in JoJo in general, out of what I've seen.
So to get back to where we were,
Jotaro gets blown up.
So they go to Koichi tries to take him away so that, like, you know, I don't really know why. I don't know how he drags him out of there. I feel like he probably would have been okay. His body temperature not super high, considering he's dying.
If anything, you're just continuing to keep him in danger by keeping him right next to you the whole time.
Yeah, you're also slowing yourself down. Anyway, he makes it to the kitchen because he's like, he turned on a bunch of lights and the bomb's like, oh, lights, amazing. And so he gets to the kitchen, but everything is going to take a while to heat up. So he's like, oh boy, oh jeez. You know, he's got to figure something out.
And is this where he has that sort of snapping moment? Where he's like,
yeah, he gets very full of himself suddenly.
Yeah, he does.
And I wrote specifically, that is a very simple trick, Chi-Chi. Like, yeah, not something to be super proud of, but at least you did. At least you did something.
You know, this is the same sort of state he went into back.
His hair gets all spiky.
Yeah. What was the name of that character who threatened his family?
I don't remember.
Well, we know who we're talking about. That guy who's stole from there. He's trying to take all their money with his weird but neat lock guilt thing. And after he threatened the Koichi's family, Koichi snapped into that whole spiked up hair, suddenly confident state. But I don't know. There, it was kind of weird, but I guess it worked in the scene somewhat. I feel like here he kind of undermines it by what he says in the moment, in which like he's giving that speech of like, why should I be the one afraid? You're the one afraid, but he specifically, the things he says specifically, it's just making me think like you're just kind of admitting to yourself being extremely cowardly. Like he goes to like into detail of like being absolutely terrified.
So do you want to explain what he did here?
I can't quite recall his exact trick.
He uses the tail of his stand and writes and sticks it. Yeah.
And it said I think sizzle.
Yeah.
And so the heat source that this thing is now tracking is on itself, and it can never really get it.
He describes it like holding a carrot in front of a donkey.
Yep.
And I'm like, yes, that is the first thing anyone would think of. Koichi, good job.
Yep.
But I don't know, cause I forget how it happens. Do you remember how the bomb gets rid of it?
The oven.
Right.
I guess Koichi couldn't get it off for some reason once he started heating it up, and it got so hot that it was hotter than the sizzle, and the bomb went after that and blew it up and blew up the tail. Did
something happen there? Because I remember he says like I turned it off.
Yeah, they don't really explain it. He just says it's weird and it.
He wants to be part of the podcast so bad.
He for some reason the oven just wouldn't turn off. It just kept getting hotter.
Okay. Yeah. So then he's like, "Oh no, my tail trick, it's gone." And I'm like, "Can you not put letters on anything else? Like
I was also thinking that. Why can't you do something else or try it again?
That's something you've done before. Just make something else hot. Make something far away hot. It's got a pretty good range." But no, I guess he forgot that he could do that. And then, oh my god. And then the stand, starts to transform. And I wrote, oh my god. He thinks it's dead again. He thinks it's dead again.
How does he fall for it twice?
Oh boy. Just this kid. I mean, I get it. He's a kid, but please. Everyone else is kids too. Everyone else is kids too, and they get it.
I mean, Shigechi was younger than he was.
Yeah.
And he was smart enough to leave them the clue that they used to track the killer.
Well, anyway, it turns out it's Act 3, and Act 3 is not. It's supposed to be kind of a funny personality. Not my favorite, but I get its appeal. But what I do like is how much they explain it here, because they go into pretty good detail.
Yeah, they do. They
not immediately. At first, it's very vague.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
But they explain once he actually asks what the heck is going on here. They explain how it's able to stop the bomb. And
it's very fast, too.
Yes, it is. And what it does is, I forget the exact way it causes this, but it puts...
You're good.
Okay, so it causes, essentially, for the just an insane amount of... gravity to just be pushing down on the bomb, and the closer it gets to Koichi, the look her. Not right now, okay, Kat?
She's like, yes, right now.
The closer the bomb gets to Koichi, the more force is applied to it, but it has a small range of effect if it's outside of
5 meters.
5 meters. If it's outside of 5 meters, goes away. It is completely free of this effect. But it does Act 3 makes a good point in saying that don't think that it's a downgrade from Act 2 just because it's such a shorter range, because it is incredibly strong in comparison.
So, that's pretty cool that we're introduced to that. Like, it is cool that Koichi's stand, sort of evolves, but I think it's supposed to be a reflection that Koichi's character should be evolving.
And it just isn't.
It's not. It's just not.
It is not.
But I don't know. It makes Kira's sheer heart attack super heavy and pushing to the ground.
And because that sheer heart attack comes from the right hand of his stand, the force is being applied to the right hand of the stand and thereby the right hand of Kira. So all of a sudden, Kira's right hand is just super heavy.
I wrote, oh my god, him right hand. Kira.
And it's...
Kira, your hand.
It's thematic that he should be experiencing hand-related issues.
Yeah. And so he's just like at a cafe, and it like his hand just pushes through a cup, and the guy working there is like, "Sir, are you okay?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'll pay for the cup. I'm sorry." And then his hand goes straight through the table, and everybody's like, that's not normal." And he's like, "No, please believe me, I'm normal."
Yeah, this more than anything, this just ruins his day. Like
It's like, great, now everybody thinks I'm weird.
Yeah, making a scene in public just upsets him so much.
And that's where the next episode starts off too. Is, this whole scene.
Yes, and he's just thoroughly upset to be put in that situation, and confused because. I mean, he's not there. He doesn't know what's happening. He does not understand why his hand's so heavy all of a sudden.
So he runs to go to where Koichi is.
Because obviously it has to do something with his bomb.
Yeah, and on his way, I think this is where it happens. On his way, he's confronted by some people who are gonna steal his money.
Yep, and he could normally deal with that sort of issue pretty easily, but he's got a heavy hand, so he's sort of immediately knocked down to the ground.
The two dudes tie his shoelaces together, which is very humorous.
Yes, but his wallet falls out, and they go to take the money out of it. But
the money is bombs.
Yep, he's turned the money into a bomb with his stand.
It's so amusing to watch.
Yeah, it is.
Bombs is so amusing to watch. It's just funny.
It's enjoyable. I love the fact that
it's terrifying.
Yeah, but it's the great thing is that it's anything.
It could be anything.
Anything could just suddenly blow up in your face.
And like not even small bombs either. Like these bombs are taking out people's limbs. They're disconfiguring them. They're big bombs.
They are. That is just such an insanely powerful stand. Really.
It's good.
It is enjoyable.
Reminds me of there's this episode of this like Spanish show that I think was on Netflix, and it's all in Spanish. But I was watching it anyway, and it's supposed to teach you like morals or something. And then there was this episode where they were teaching kids not to play with fireworks, and this kid played with fireworks and he blew his hand off. And they're like, "You shouldn't have played. Why were you playing with fireworks? You idiot kid! You blew your hand off." And he's like, "Oh, jeez, shouldn't have done that."
All right. Sounds like an interesting show.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. It got really wild. There was an episode where a mom was like selling drugs, and then the daughter was like, "This is candy, I think," and then she gave it to her friends, and then one of them like OD'd or something.
Yeesh.
Yeah, it was wild. It was a wild show. Anyway, back to JoJo. I don't know where we are.
Kira dealt with the thugs.
Yeah.
And he goes
He goes to confront Chi-Chi.
Yep. And he immediately commends him on like dealing with his stand. Like, no one's ever dealt with this before. And I'm like, how many? How many of these villains are going to praise him?
He's
Why?
such a normal kid. I don't know, dude. And then there's like a choice to be made. They're like, okay, Flicker.
She wants to be let outside. Hold on.
You can go outside. Go have fun. Play in the bushes.
Alright.
So he's given two choices. He could use his I forget what it's called. Three freeze.
Yeah, 3 freeze, yeah.
He can use that on Kira, or he could use it on sheer heart attack.
And either way, he's screwed.
Yes. However, immediately I was thinking, shouldn't you use that on Kira? Because, like, especially if you think you're gonna die or at least come close to it, like, you could probably try to... You're outside. Maybe Kira's body temperature will go up by the force of him being... Like, potentially you're not the hottest thing. There's ways to avoid it, potentially. But, like, Kira is a whole man who has another stand attached to him. That seems a little more...
I do think... I was also thinking at the time, you know, I didn't think I wasn't thinking about ways he could get out of being screwed by the situation, but I was thinking he's more screwed with Kira than he is with...
And, like, to be fair, he can't go too far, which is a problem.
Yeah.
But at the very least, I was thinking maybe he could damage Kira if he ends up dying. Who knows? I just feel like there's...
Yeah, but that doesn't really seem like a very Koichi sort of thing to do, of that sort of realize that you're not getting out of this situation, so try to do the most you can in your last
Well, that
moments.
happens pretty soon, because he uses it on the stand, the part of the stand, and Kira really, like, just beats him up really bad. And to the point where he's looking pretty dead.
Yeah, he's about to die.
And in that moment, he starts bragging about the fact that he knows his name now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's really taunting him. He's saying, like, a brat like me figured out your name. How pathetic of you. And amongst a number of things that, like, that's not the thing to do in the moment, I was thinking, like, you know his name, and you have a stand that can project that? You have a stand that can project that information.
Of course he wouldn't think
But
of
I
that,
guess
though.
you want to taunt him right now. And it's like, oh, Koichi, everybody's a kid. They're all kids.
On the one hand, though, it is sort of a trope to when you're in a desperate situation with a psychopath, to taunt them and sort of get them to break.
And it does work that that this does deeply bother him, very clearly.
Very, very much.
Still, though,
There were much better things to do.
Not the smartest move, but in character.
Yes. And also, I want to mention, throughout this whole confrontation between the two, Kira keeps mentioning the fact that he's aware of the exact amount of time it would take for Josuke and Okuyasu to show up.
Yeah.
Which I just love that. He's like, I know exactly how much time I have to kill you.
Yeah, and he takes his time. Because in this moment, Koichi's looking very dead. However, not completely, I guess. I thought he looked pretty dead, but I guess he's not. And so Kira's like, okay, I'm about to kill you. However, your sock is on inside out, and that is a problem that we are going to have to fix. So,
of all the dumb luck for Koichi,
Koichi was the one who was looking the entire time.
Triggering a killer's OCD.
Who would have thought? So he takes the time to fix the sock, which ends up being a bad move on his part. But he's like, finally, everything's in place and I can kill this kid. However,
Jotaro isn't dead.
He's not dead. Oh!
Gets up and throws an attack
Star
at him.
Platinum!
That, I gotta say, was epic.
Yeah, I love Star Platinum
Jotaro
so much.
out of nowhere with that last minute attack.
That's such a fun confrontation. You see Kira, you see Jotaro, and you're like, oh, I want to see these two confront each other.
And, of course, you know, he doesn't have the strength. He doesn't have the strength left in him to actually deal any damage, but he manages to buy enough time for Josuke and Okuyasu to show up.
Yeah.
Way to go, Jotaro.
Yeah, Jotaro knows what he's doing. And
also, way to go, Josuke, for the things that he does next. He handles this situation.
Yeah.
Like,
well, what happens right here? Okay, where were we actually?
Right when Josuke shows up.
Right. And it looks like they're all dead. I wrote, wow, they're all dead. And then Kira does a bit, and then it's funny.
I forget the bit.
He pretends like he's just a random bystander.
Yeah,
who
he's
got
like,
caught in
oh
the
my god,
explosion.
there was an explosion. You gotta stay away from that place.
Yeah, but he does a bit, but he's dumb.
Yeah, he immediately gives away himself by being like, yeah, you can heal people, right? You heal me, yeah.
He's like, he goes to Josuke. He's like, hurry up and heal me or fix me. And Josuke's like, what do you mean?
Any way you look at me, I'm just an average high school kid. Why would you assume that I can help you?
Yeah, I'm not. Do I look like I don't look like one. So then Kira's like, oof, you got me. And then he's like, no more hand for me. Is this JoJo or Hunter x Hunter?
Yep.
He cuts off his hand.
Yeah, he cuts off his hand.
So that he can abscond.
Yep.
So, which he does.
But Jotaro isn't dead. Yay! Koichi isn't dead.
Oh. So Josuke finishes healing those two.
Yep.
And then they oh yeah, that was really cool. He's like he's punching the sheer heart attack, and Jotaro's like, you can't break it, dude. And then Josuke's like,
I'm not breaking it. I'm fixing it.
Yeah, and it's so funny because it's like he just got there and he immediately put all the pieces together somehow. Because he's clever. Because he's Josuke. He's got it.
Such a smart kid.
So,
oh my god, is Josuke younger than me?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I definitely felt that a lot when I was in my late teens. All the anime characters were younger than me and I was like, yikes. But like now I'm used to it.
Yeah.
Well, anyway. What was it? Well, at least Jotaro's older than you.
Yeah.
So, Josuke is repairing it so that the hand will return back to Kira, which is a funny thought. There's just this hand flying, like, where's my arm? And so they start following it, so they're like, that'll bring us to him, which it does.
That was cool. Just chase the hand.
Yeah.
It'll ring.
And where did it lead them to?
I forget the name of the beauty...
Cinderella.
Yes. It is that familiar joint and a tragic scene.
Yeah, for sure.
Dead people. More than one.
More than one. They first assume that the guy is Kira, and then they're like, oh, nope, it's just a man.
Without a face.
Yeah.
And then the reveal that he has changed his face and his identity, and he could be anyone now.
Yeah. That's revealed by the lady who does all that.
Yes, she was able to tell them before she blew up.
Yeah. She's telling them, and then they're like, wait, she's a bomb. And then, oh, it's so cool. Kuyasa uses the hand.
Right, that was great.
Second decision here. He saves them from this explosion. Does he use the hand on the explosion?
I forget exactly how he uses the hand.
I think that was it.
But
I think he hands the explosion and the lady.
He deals with it with the hand.
Yeah, it's really cool.
He's improving.
Yeah, he's there. He's helping. He's helping. And then Kira escaped.
Yeah, so he can be anyone in the city.
Yeah, they don't know anymore because his face is different now. Whoops, they discovered all this information, but now they're kind of back to square one, in a way. Mm-hmm. Well, there it is, those 4 episodes. So much was revealed to us.
Such an eventful 4 episodes, and just, it was great.
It was thrilling, it was suspenseful, it was mystery, and it was action.
Yeah.
We had everything you could hope for.
It was very satisfying 4 episodes. Mm-hmm. And I can't wait for the next.
Yeah. Did you have any overall thoughts and any future predictions? Really quick.
One thing I want to go back to, we skipped over this, but I did appreciate the detail of having the ghost girl see Shigeshi's ghost going up into the afterlife.
Yeah.
That was because she hadn't mentioned.
And it was terrifying.
Yes, it was.
He's like screaming in pain.
Yes.
He's this little kid and he's screaming. He had a terrible death as he goes into the afterlife, just being destroyed. And it's like, that's the worst thing I've ever had to see.
But it was a great detail to throw in there.
Yeah. And his parents have sent out like a missing report. They're looking for him. Shakes my head. Sad story.
JoJo's always been very good, I feel, at handling character deaths.
Yeah, I definitely felt like there's weight to it, unlike Josuke's grandfather.
Yeah.
They forgot about him immediately.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Shigechi dies. They're like, oh, well, we have to catch this killer. Which, I'm glad they're finally on track with that. Mm-hmm. They're doing a good job. People almost died some more because of this, but they're making it through. They
almost caught him within like a couple hours of.
If the gang was all there at once.
Yeah.
Well.
It's just unfortunate that it was just Jotaro and Koichi that ended up confronting him.
Yeah. I bet if it was, probably if it was Jotaro and Josuke, they could have handled it fine. Mm-hmm. But that's fine. This is how we do suspense.
Yep, and we do need some more of this. We can't just let it end here. It wouldn't be very thrilling if they caught the killer like within their first meeting of him.
Yeah. So what do you think is going to happen in the next couple episodes?
Well, I suspect more killings will occur.
Because keep in mind, we just finished episode 24, and there's a total of 39 episodes.
Yes. Wow. Yeah. There's.
So there's gonna be some stuff going on other than just we find him again and catch him. There's gonna be a
good amount left, and I have a feeling we haven't seen the full extent of his abilities. I feel like there's probably quite a bit more to Kira than what we've seen so far.
Well, that'll be interesting to find out. Anything else at all?
I look forward to seeing more episodes. As much as I enjoy seeing the group sectioned off and how each small groups of characters interact with one another when they're put into different groups, I do think that it's about time for them to all really work together as one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping and I feel like we're going to get a bit more of that coming up.
I mentioned before we started recording that I'm really excited for the 3rd episode in the next 4 that we're about to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm excited to talk about that one.
I look forward to it.
Yeah. Who knows what it'll be?
I don't.
Will it be cool? Will it be exciting? Will it be goofy? Will it be a horror?
Will it be Restaurant Part 2?
Ooh. All of those. We'll find out. So, catch you later, dudes.
Have a good one.
Peace.